Hello everybody, welcome to Central Tokyo. This is the island of Sakura here in Chuoku. There's the Tokyo Sky Tree in the distance. You see it right there. It's a beautiful sight. That's Chuo Ohashi right there. And I'm going to give you a rundown of some of the best places to go in Japan for the cherry blossoms. And what is the schedule? When is the best time to hit it? Especially right now in 2023. Now you're looking at a, I guess you'd say a mature Somei Yoshino Sakura tree, which we would call cherry blossom tree in English, Sakura in Japanese. And it's about, I don't know, like 15% bloomed, but there are other trees that are further along. And, you know, it's just, zoom in a little bit here. It just depends on when you come to Japan and where you're going. Here's the map for the forecast for this year from the Japan Meteorological Agency, and you can see they're predicting Tokyo to be one of the earliest, I guess around right now, the 20th of March. And you can see the layers over the country. Japan is not it's a narrow country, but it does have different temperature zones. So of course that has a big impact. So when you say, am I gonna be in time for the cherry blossoms? It just depends on where you're gonna go. If you come now, you're gonna see them in Tokyo, but there's none of them up in the north because they haven't even started to bud up there. But if you go down to the west, which is the south, it looks like the bottom of the map, we would say that's West Japan, Kyushu, that's about a week behind Tokyo. So, you know, Tokyo is going to be always the first place, as well as Wakayama and parts of Shikoku, Kochi Prefecture, usually pretty quick, and then orange, and then pink and purple up there. You could come in June and see them up in the very, very north of Hokkaido. So it really just depends on when you come and where you want to go. And that determines if you see them or not. And you'll always see me right here. How you doing, everybody? Yeah, it's a pretty exciting time. Yesterday I took you into Ginza, and we could take a look at the people that have returned here. And I haven't seen Japan this crowded since, I don't know, since 2019 or the very beginning of 2020. I was going through Tsukiji Market 2 days ago in the rain, and there were so many people I could not ride my bicycle through the main street to get to Ginza. Thus, I had to cancel a live stream. Also, it was raining, so it was not the best day. And another thing that's very important when you're coming here for cherry blossoms is the weather. I want to show you the weather forecast for Japan for the next week. Check this out, all right? This is very important. This is from the Japan Meteorological Agency as well, I believe. Tenki.jp is a website, but you can see here, it doesn't look good. In fact, today and tomorrow are the two best days for the rest of the week. And since the cherry blossoms are coming out, there's a great chance, again, it's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, rain, 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 rain. It does get warmer on Friday at 23 degrees, which is, what is that, like lower 70s maybe? But it's gonna rain. It's probably gonna be windy too. So I'm hoping that we get through the 27th and the cherry blossoms hang on, or else we're not gonna have a really good Tokyo viewing of the cherry blossoms this year. And it happens. We're at the mercy of the weather. There are times where it's really warm, like right now. I'm getting a lot of sun, it feels great. And then in about 48 hours, it's completely gonna change where it feels like winter again. It's windy, it's cold. I'm wearing shorts right now. I'll probably be wearing pants and a winter jacket. And that's spring at this time. So the cherry blossoms, again, it's so difficult to not just predict exactly, you can get an idea, but it's impossible to predict the weather. So everyone who's coming here to Japan is gonna better bundle up, because you're gonna get a very chilly week this week that's coming up. I think with the rain. I guess the temperature looks like it's warm, but it's definitely gonna feel a lot cooler because there's no sun involved. The sun makes a huge difference. So always check the temperature, the weather, and to see what it looks like for the rest of the week here. You can see here, Japan is a pretty long country. Let's look first at the top 10 places top 12 places that this website has said in Tokyo. I think this was Live Japan's list. Tokyo is not my favorite place to go and see the cherry blossoms. It's probably my least favorite. The only reason I think it would be good is if you like the festivals, the parties, you like a lot of people. And I think for the nature, that's not exactly what not exactly what I'm looking for, but everybody's different, so Tokyo might be really good. The Meguro River is probably the most popular at night. It's a date spot because you can stroll the river with the person you love holding hands, and they illuminate the Somei Yoshino white cherry blossoms, and it looks almost like it had snowed. It's a magical sight, and if you've never seen it before, you definitely have to stop over at the Meguro River. Just go early and leave early because it gets more crowded. It's pretty crazy. You'll get some Sakura champagne, you'll see some Sakura food being sold by vendors. The last 3 years have been pretty sad with this festival and almost shut down, but this will be the first year where it's back on, so expect it to be very crowded. I think Ueno Park is also going to be quite crowded, and the drinking will be back, so please do take care. I recommend that you maybe take 1 or 2 drinks, but don't get wasted in the park this year. I don't want to encourage that at all, please. One of my favorite places is Chidori-ga-Fuchi, which is number 3 on this list. Chidori-ga-Fuchi is a strolling park. It's quite crowded at the peak. It's near Yasukuni Shrine, right in the middle of Tokyo, just around the Imperial Palace, which is that big center green area in the central area of the urban region. This is super crowded. You can't get a signal to live stream very well as a result of it. It's near it starts at around the Indian Embassy and goes around towards the British Embassy around this part of the city of Tokyo. It is just beautiful there, and you have a lake where the blossoms will all fall down, probably around the very end of March. You'll start to see them falling into the lake, so it's worth it just to see the entire moat just filled with white blossoms. It is stunning. Yoyogi Park is a favorite if you like for parties. It's not a great park to see the blossoms. It's good for partying. That's Yoyogi Park. That's always been where we would set up the blue sheets and drink with our friends and stuff like 15 years ago. Yeah, and there's some other places here. Roppongi Hills is nice. A lot of these places are new. Inokashira Park is one of the favorites and maybe the most beautiful and historical places in the city of Tokyo to see the cherry blossoms. Around a lake there. It's very natural. I think it's a natural setting. There's places where you can hide out in the trees and get a little bit more privacy out there. It's a fairly big park, and there's things to do around Inokashira Park. There's the Mitaka, which has the Ghibli Museum, and then there's of course the town, and I can't remember the town. It's on the Chuo line. Anyway, well, how can I not forget the town? It's the most livable, or the most desirable place to live in Tokyo too. Somebody help me out there. Like what? And Rikugen National Park is also on the list as number 9. That's also a beautiful place, but it's quite small. For me, it's not about Tokyo. As I told you, this isn't the greatest place to see the cherry blossoms. Live Japan is what that list is from. You'll see different lists with different rankings. Shinjuku Gyoen, the blossoms bloom at different times. So we've seen in this channel where the cherry blossoms were blooming like in the end of February, depending on the variety and the location. So again, like if you're going to be in time for cherry blossoms, which ones, The festivals, I guess everybody is talking about the festivals, right? Let me show you here. I want to walk around this area and give you another look at what it looks like right now for the cherry blossoms here. This is along the Sumida River. I love to come here because it's more residential, it's more open, and the riverside is beautiful here. A lot of the cherry blossoms, the Sakura, you'll find blooming along the riverside, and that is the best place. They get more light there, and they get more water, and that's all really a big part of it. You can see the big mansions, the big tower condominiums. Yeah, I would say it's about 10 to 15% bloomed. So you still got a lot of dark branches on the trees, but it won't be long before it just is all white. I'm just really sad that this year it's going to be cloudy, rainy, and slightly chilly. You can see the Hoikuen kind of the preschools, they all come out too during the daytime. All right, check it out. This is a tree closer down to the river. It doesn't get as much sunlight right now, but this one looks like it's about 20% bloomed. Just a guesstimate. There's some buds there. Let's go to one that might be a little bit better. Let's see if we can find one that might be in the sun here. Like once again, this week is about Tokyo. Next week, probably moving up towards Fukushima and Sendai, right? So it moves up, and you can catch this up for a solid month. The cherry blossoms. Here we go, zooming in. Wow. Somei Yoshino don't have a smell to them. It's very neutral. The Sakura had some smell to it, but these didn't have much at all. It is nice. You see the Sumida River, the main waterway going through the central part of Tokyo. Here you can see a lot of them are just budding. You know they're gonna start opening up tomorrow. If I were to come back tomorrow, a lot of these would be white popping out. Oh, it's so close. So here's a map of Japan. So I want to talk a little bit while I'm walking down the river, a little bit about the geography of Japan and where some of the best places are to go. We're in Tokyo, the star, the capital. But I would say that, well, the rankings are that the #1 place is Nara. Mount Yoshino, or Yoshino-san, Yoshino is probably the best place because of the sheer number of cherry blossoms and the different varieties of them. Nara is famous for the deer and, gosh, the parks, the temples. It's a very old capital of Japan. Kyoto is also nice with the temples and shrines, but it's too crowded, so it's never really top on the list. Mito, which is just north of Tokyo, is famous for natto fermented beans, and also the ume blossoms in February, plum blossoms. These are Sakura blossoms, cherry blossoms, so they're different, but there's a Sakura tree right there. Tohoku is one of my favorites. Fukushima is quite famous for, it has some of the oldest Sakura trees in Japan. And you know, before what happened with the tsunami and earthquake, Fukushima was known for its peaches and for its nature, its sake, its onsen, its natural hot springs. Yeah, I would say Akita, Morioka, Aomori, all of Tohoku is just absolutely stunning. Especially Aomori's #1 festival in Japan, according to my book, would be the one up there in Aomori. It's just absolutely beautiful. It really is. And then I remember at Golden Week, which is the beginning of May, they start to bloom in Hakodate. This is crazy, right? They're blooming in Hakodate in May. I remember, I didn't think I would get a second chance at this, but 6 years ago, almost to this day, I started hitchhiking from the very south of Japan and went up to the very north. You can see this on a Blu-ray that I have out in the store, Only in Japan store. And I literally went out to follow, I went out for adventure, I'll be honest with you, but I also went out at this time to follow the cherry blossoms. And I started out too early in Kyushu, and I found that I caught up with it just after I left Kyushu and like around Fukuoka, and was able to follow them up pretty much until I got to Hokkaido, which is amazing. You could see when I got to Hakodate at the end of April, beginning of May, they were out. It was just amazing because like 2 weeks before, they're finished down in where I was 2 weeks ago, and here they are blooming right here. So I was following nature up. So you can do trips like that, and in fact, tailor your Japanese trip to follow the cherry blossoms. Of course, it's a high season and a peak, so it's probably going to be a little pricey to do something like that. Yeah, this is a beautiful area. I'm to the side here because I do know the schedule, and I was expecting this. This is also a great place to see my favorite boat, and yours, space boat. So let us take a moment out of our schedules to appreciate the magnificence that is space boat. No, this boat does not dive down, nor does it fly, although it looks like it could. Right now, the crew is setting up the boat so people can go outside. They wait until after the bridges. They get through all of the bridges down the Sumida River and get into Tokyo Bay. And it's nice because you can leave the belly of the beast and go up to the top there. And from there, you go underneath the Rainbow Bridge to Odaiba, and it's so awesome. You look up and there's the bridge. It's not too expensive to ride this thing. Prices have been going up, but we definitely want them to stay in business. Let's see if we can see anybody. Let's wave to the people here. Is anyone waving back? Oh, there's some people waving. Hello. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, space boat. I will ride you once again. Even look in the back, they got these space age windows in the back. This could totally launch to space and be totally fine. They should do it. They need to add rockets though. Oh, they just let people up because they're getting underneath the bridge there. Oh, that's awesome. What am I doing here? I want to get on that boat. Yeah, this boat will take you through a lot of the, you'll go across the river, you'll be able to see a lot of the cherry blossoms, especially at Hamarikyu Park, which is one of the stops before it goes across the bay to Odaiba, Hamarikyu Park. So you could jump on this boat at Asakusa, float down the Sumida River, get off at Hamarikyu Park, take a look at the cherry blossoms that cut across to Odaiba for lunch. Sounds like a pretty good plan. And now it's gone. It's coming from the other way too pretty soon. Let's go up here and take a look at the Sakura one more time. I'll take some of your questions. If you want to ask about the cherry blossoms in Japan, I'm here for you. So let me know, and I'll use my expertise because I've traveled the country many, many, many times in search of Sakura. Oh, looks like there's a tour for visiting residents. A good way to see the city. Like, look at this one right here. This one, there's almost no blossoms on it. I guess it just depends on where it's located and how much sun it's getting. But there's only like 3 or 4 that are blossoming, and it's probably because of the sun hitting it. I don't know. It's like asking, why are some people, insane and some people geniuses and some people geniusly insane? I don't know. What makes people different? Trees are the same way. We don't see it, but perhaps they're really different. It's hard to tell. Yeah, at my son's daycare, there's a foreign child. Leo is half. And every time I go in there, somebody thinks that I'm that foreign child's, even though, she looks, very different than me. She's got blonde hair and blue eyes. They think I'm the father because I'm foreign. So in Japan, all foreigners seem, I guess, look alike. I was like, how could I be this girl's child? Just look at me and look at her. That's impossible. But Of course, I have a sense of humor about it. I'm not actually angry, but I think it's just funny. So I always tell Kanai, it's like, yeah, they thought I was this other girl's father again. I'm actually Leo's dada. Cute girl, though. Imagine if how far would they let me take that girl home? They would not let me. They'd never let it get to that. Should I just pretend next time? Wow. This one is gonna be beautiful when it pops out. Just like popcorn, really. But, you know, at night, there's a lot of places that'll light it up. I used to live in a town called Okazaki. This is where the shogun was born. Tokugawa Ieyasu was born in this city of Okazaki. I lived there for the first 14 months in Japan. And they have a park. It was right across the street from where I lived. I lived in a little town called Koseicho inside of Okazaki. And that's where the castle is. And for a week every year, I was there for 2 of the cherry blossom seasons. Or was I? No, just for 1. They lit it up. I went back the next year. They lit it up. So it looked like it had snowed. And for me, I'd never ever seen anything like this. It's definitely only in Japan. Just the sheer variety, the sheer volume of the white cherry blossoms, the Somei Yoshino ones, lit up into these tunnels. It's the most amazing natural sight. Like, why doesn't every country have these cherry blossoms? Maybe the weather, I don't know. But it's just, for a week out of the year, it's so special. Sean 0808, aloha. Hey, hope to catch you next week when I visit Japan. I'll be here. Hope to catch some Sakura too. I think you'll just be on time. Your timing seems to be pretty good, Sean. There you go, look at that. These will be out around Wednesday, I think. And by Friday, it'll be full bloomed. So I think by Friday, it's all gonna come out. If it's fully bloomed by then, this is the way it goes, okay? All right, after full bloom hits, the first rain and the first wind that's strong knocks them all down. I remember there was a year where the blossoms hung on for like a week after because there wasn't any rain or wind. It was a bizarre year. And we had the cherry blossoms in the same spot for like 2.5 weeks. That just does not happen. Those are the blessed years and the cursed years. And this year looks like it's gonna be cursed for Tokyo, but it'll be really nice for other places. Gracie just got back from Japan and got some amazing Sakura shot. I'm glad that you got some. Sorry, Mike just popped off there. All right, let me zoom in here. I can see a little pink spot. Let's make it bigger. Wow. Again, cherry blossoms, the buds are pink and then they turn into white blossoms with the Somei Yoshino. This is the most famous variety. But the kind that you would eat is called the Yaezakura, and they pickle those. Most of the country's Yaezakura, they're organic, so they say, and they're grown in Kanagawa, which is not too far away from here. There are farms where they hand pick them for the ones in Japan anyways. They hand pick them for confections and things like this. So when you can go around Tokyo or Japan and you'll find at this time of year in particular, the cherry blossoms pickled on desserts and cookies and, you know, yokon inside of sake or certain kinds of booze. They make liqueur, Sakura liqueur. They also grind it into a pink powder. The Yaezakura is a pink color, not a white color, the flowering, so it looks more pleasing. So when you say cherry blossoms, there's so many varieties of them, and I don't have a graph to tell you, but I know there's about 6 or 7 that are pretty prevalent. The Somei Yoshino, which is the tree right here, is the most prevalent one, and that's the one that everybody sees and I guess hopes for, and the festivals are around this one. But right now you can see most of the trees look like this. They're just kind of budding here. So you're on time. If you're flying in next week, or this week, or even next week, you should be able to see them in Tokyo. But I'm guessing April 1st is probably going to be too late for Tokyo. And you're going to have to go up to Utsunomiya or Fukushima to catch them, or Sendai even, which is also a beautiful place. I think around where Sendai Castle, the old castle, used to be. I'm sure there's some beautiful cherry blossoms over there. There's a couple that are popping up. Stunning. I don't know if I'm gonna have another time this week to do it because of the rain and the chill that's forecasted to come in here. Let me take some of your questions about this, and I'll put on the map here. This is the map of the cherry blossoms and the forecast for this month. Do you guys have any questions about the cherry blossom season? I always think that you should probably dress warmer. Definitely. I know it's spring, and you see sometimes the weather's really warm, but you have to be prepared for like winter-like conditions at the end of March in Japan. It's always gonna be like that. Can't wait for Ueno, which I say it sounds like Ueno, but I'm saying Ueno, but I'm not emphasizing the U. It's just Ueno. It's there. Yeah, Ueno is a nice place to go. It's not really my top spot though. You'll know it's beautiful, but I don't think you go there like every day. For people, for Japanese, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for a lot of my friends because I've lived in 17 different cities around Japan. The places that people say are their favorites are the places in their neighborhoods. It's a tree that is the most special, where 50 weeks out of the year, it's either green or dark. And then for 2 weeks out of the year, that tree in their neighborhood is just special. And you walk by it every week, every day. And for this small period of time, it just becomes really special. And those are the trees that most locals here in Japan love the most. The trees that are around them that bloom in their neighborhoods, not out to the tourist attractions. Now, if you're a tourist visiting, of course, Ueno Park's going to be maybe one of your top places. But for me, when I lived in Shinozaki, in Edogawa ward in Tokyo, Shinozaki Park was my favorite, and it's still one of my favorite places to go because it's close, it's not crowded, and it's just I know these trees, and it's funny that they have this blossom thing for 2 weeks. It's just funny to me that trees do this. Still, even now. Yeah, but I would say Ueno is too crowded. Chidori Fuchi and Yoyogi Park, tomorrow, right, St. John Bright, because of the rain. Yeah, try to get them in now, but the thing is, there's just not a lot of them. I mean, it's hard to appreciate it. Like, I want to jump into this bunch here, because this is the most beautiful bunch. But it's hard to go to these places to appreciate the blossoms when they're not at least at 50% yet, which is the curse of this coming week with the temperatures coming. Yeah, they do make me laugh a little bit. Fake laugh. Yeah, there's a couple of cherry trees at the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. That's a place that gets a lot of sunshine too. Every tourist shopping in Ueno and Ameyoko. Yeah, Ameyoko is one of my favorite places for shopping as well. It will be snowing with Sakura trees soon. Takun writes in here, is Sakura season a good time to visit for a vacation, or is it too busy? That's a great question. I have a great answer. One second. I can shrink this down here. So you can still see it here. That's a great question. It's not too, I wouldn't say it's too busy, but I can tell you, right now Tokyo is just too busy. It's crazy, the amount of tourists that are here. I don't think there's gonna be a normal time anymore, but if you're looking at the big parks, the tourist parks in cities, the big parks in cities, they're gonna be crowded. it's from the cherry blossoms are everywhere though. They're not in one just in one big park. They're in the entire country. They're everywhere. So there are places where you can go to appreciate it, but if you're coming here to go to the big parks, they're going to be crowded. But if you're coming here to, for the cherry blossoms, for the seasons, you're going to have places like this where you have the cherry blossoms and there's almost nobody around because it's a residential neighborhood that's about 10 minutes from Tokyo Station. This is Sakura, just across from like if you just go straight from this bridge, you get to Tokyo Station. There's almost nobody here, so you don't get a lot of people in the residential neighborhoods except for the residents. But if you're going to Ueno Park, you're going to Shinjuku Gyoen, you're going to Yoyogi Park, you're going to have a lot of people there because they're going there to drink, they're going there to party because there's some food stands there, and it's fun. But if you're looking for the natural scenery and just to relax underneath the cherry blossoms, the way I guess they would been doing for a long time, centuries, the way the samurais do it, it's a time to look for internal peace and enjoy that life is short, just like these blossoms, and they're here for a moment and then they're gone. And that's the beauty of them, and that's the comparison to everyday life that people in Japan, I guess, not everybody nowadays, but they say the samurai did. It's a great question. For me, I think I see the cherry blossoms maybe different than other people do in some way. Just, in the beginning, my mouth was open like, I can't believe how beautiful this is. And now, it's just like a time of year where you just stop everything to admire nature, and that's so important in life because everything moves so quickly right now. These cherry blossoms move quickly too. They're just here for a week. And you're getting to see the start of it right now. Yeah. With the river. All right, everybody, I hope this is useful for you. I hope this was useful for you. You can go ahead and write questions down below, but this is a time of year. I know there's so many really tough things going on around the world. There's things that are way out of our control. The war that's going on in Ukraine, and everyone's sending really positive vibes and prayers that they can get through this really tough time. And on the other side of the world, in a peaceful place like Japan right now, we don't have an earthquake going on, so it's all peaceful. You have to stop and admire the beauty and send this beauty to everybody else around the world. This is what YouTube is really good for. We can share this kind of stuff with you. I don't smell anything. There's nothing there. Nothing there. Yurisa writes in here, how about Kyoto? I mean, they have temples and shrines. Kyoto is just too crowded for me. I think there's some places away from the center of Kyoto. Kyoto is actually a prefecture, okay? It's a state, like. So you can go out into the countryside of Kyoto, and it is absolutely beautiful. There's no question. But if when you say, how about Kyoto? How about Nara? You're asking about the tourist places, and they're all going to be really packed. And it's all going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, maybe. Whereas like here, you can put down a blue sheet on the ground, like right down here. You just put a blue sheet, you bring some sandwiches, a couple of bentos, a 6-pack of water, or sake, and you have fun. And that's what the cherry blossoms mean to me. To get Leo, to get Kanai, to get her family to come out, and for a day, stop everything and just have a picnic under the trees, something called hanami. Hana means flower, and mi means to see. So you just like cherry blossom viewing is what it means. So just to do hanami underneath the sakura, that's such a great thing to do. But if you're asking about what is Kyoto, like you can't really do hanami. You're walking, there's a lot of people, it's loud. But there are places in Kyoto that are also quiet, and I look for those places for this time of year. But there's no question taking a photo with the darkness, the dark brown of a temple, and the striking white blossoms, it is beautiful. It is really beautiful. It's just, there's a million people that are thinking the same thing, and they all go, right? You just have to look around. Here's the weather map for here's the weather map for the rest of the week. It looks bad. I see Chan is here in the trunk. How you doing? It does look pretty bad, the weather. Jennifer French is here. Hey, Jennifer. Thank you for these Sakura updates. Were you thinking of Kichijoji earlier? I was. Since my friends Simon and Martina are no longer living there that I know of. I think Simon is in Portugal. And I guess Martina's here. They used to live there, and I would go to Kichijoji just to go to visit them, hang out at their house, drink coffee, but they're not there. You're very welcome, Chan and Jennifer and everybody. And tomorrow, I'm gonna see what Peter's doing, but it's the last day where the weather is like this, so we'll try to take advantage of that because the rest of the week looks miserable, right? So we'll go out and see what we can find. Maybe there's a festival going on. There's some food stands going on. Maybe there's some that has started someplace. So I'll try to find that and take you there tomorrow to really enjoy it. But it looks like this weekend, on the 26th, excuse me, maybe 25th and 26th, it might be raining, but maybe there's some periods where it's not raining or the weather changes where it's not raining, and I can go out and show you that festival, because this is what it means to me, but I want to show you what a normal Sakura festival is like, the Cherry Blossom Festival is like, and you don't get a chance to see that. We haven't gotten a chance to see that for the last 3 years. So I myself, as a human person, want to take my family and do that. And I can share a little bit of that with you because I think it's a cool time. But the weather looks pretty bad, and looks like around the 29th, 28th, it'll be good again. So, I just hope, please, Sakura, hang in there. Please hang in there until the weather turns good again. 1 week from now. We're like the quiet before the storm. So I can get with this weather map. Joshua Skidmore is here. Thanks for the weather report as well. I'll make sure to bring a jacket. Please do when I get to Japan in a few days. Thanks again for the great videos. You're welcome, Joshua. Yeah, if you forget your jacket, you can pick one up at Uniqlo. The one in Ginza is a skyscraper, and they still have winter stuff up. I think it's on the 7th floor, but they have in different sizes too, all the way up to XXXXL, which is awesome, because I have some family members that are just tall, and they need those larger sizes. I bring something from Uniqlo. You got to go to the Ginza shop because they have those extra large sizes, but they still have some winter things for people who forget it or are going to the southern hemisphere because it's winter down there. Maybe, did I miss the other space boat? I might have missed the other space boat. No. That's not it. There's the map for the rest of you. I will try to travel and see some of the cherry blossoms as well on this channel, so definitely hit the subscribe button and join me as I go from place to place and take you with me. I'll be traveling. I got 2 episodes to upload this month, so we have 10 more days left, and then I'm back onto a very hard production schedule, a lot of editing. I'm going back to the editing right now, get back on my bicycle. All right, everybody, have a good day, have a good night. I hope this was really fun for you. I like sharing. See you tomorrow. Yeah, if you'd like to talk more about this, head to Discord. Only in Japan Discord server. We have a community, people talking about the cherry blossoms right now. Bye-bye.